Everyone, and happy Valentine's Day, even though this says Wednesday the 13th. This is for all the college basketball fans out there. Anybody who's been following the college basketball file, I'd like to give a little update on how things are going. There's a lot of good to talk about, so let's get into it. Been working with the college football stats and started to watch some games recently because it's fun picking games. And the file is very interesting. So I'm trying to put a power percentage on every team. And for example, yesterday we went 37 and 21, which is not a winning record profitability wise, even though you're winning, almost 4 out of every 6 games, because of odds and lines and things like that. And so what I'd like to talk about is this file generates a sheet every day. This is yesterday's sheet. And it shows you what the Westgate line, I believe, is in Vegas. That's the one that pops up in here at the Westgate. And it calculates this power percentage in this algorithm that I've written in Excel for it. We're not looking at player data even. We're not looking by player, just looking at team stats that you can find here, and doing some equations based on team stats in a formula in here, which is fully changeable and editable, and what I like to call, a retroactive or regressive algorithm, where we look back at the past and kind of fit a formula or fit a line into there that creates the most wins for us in the long run. That's what we've been doing with other sports like baseball and football, and to some extent hockey, which is still being worked on. So in basketball, it's funny because I guess basketball is a game where maybe the bounces don't. There are, of course, bounces in game. It's a game of inches like any of these sports games. But in something like hockey, you can have a bad bounce that leads to a goal, and there's only 4, 5, 6 goals a game or something. So if in basketball you have, like 60, 80, 70 points a game, so maybe there's more time for the better team to prove they're better and not be so susceptible to the bounce problem. So anyway, the point is after looking at all this, you find some very interesting patterns. And for subscribers, I release the picks before the games. Like I'll be doing it right after this video for today on Valentine's Day. And send it to you. And they're gonna lead to winning. I have been winning with this in many different fashions. So I'd like to show you how this plays itself out. This is really the point of the videos. So you see a lot of what we're looking at here is we're looking at the cumulative of picking every single game. If we're just showing the teams that had that better power percentage in the game, how did we do? And we're losing money overall picking every game. I would not recommend picking every game. We never do that. We find the best games to pick. So how do you find the best games, and where's the profitability? And here's how you do it. So we won 37 and lost 21 games yesterday. We have an average power percentage tied to a lot of these teams. So this yesterday that we're talking about, just the games that we won, what did we win? Well, here's the power percentage and how powerful we thought the team was, right? Think of it as our odds that they're going to win the game, right? We think they're a 90% chance Tennessee to win that game, and they lost. How about that? What was their money line? The reason why I did not bet them yesterday, I don't remember why, but I'm sure their line was terrible. Let's see, where's Tennessee? There they are. So there was no line even. You couldn't bet that game unless you bet the points. And obviously if you bet the points, you lost. So that stinks. Virginia Tech, terrible odds, but they won. This is the amount of money that the team paid off if you bet $1, right? So let's color that out and see how, you could pick these teams in a big parlay. Texas Tech is a team that I had. Villanova I passed up, but they were reasonable at negative 650. Florida State didn't have them. NC State, I had them. The file really showed, like, if you look at NC State yesterday, I had them, and I knew they were a great pick. They're highlighted in green. See, the ones that are highlighted in green were ones that really liked. You came lost by a point. That stunk. But if you had them with the points, 1.5 points, you won. So you can see how they're at 70%. That's really high. The line was reasonable. We had them winning by 2. They crushed it. So Syracuse is not as good as you would think Syracuse should be. So that was why they picked that off. Vermont, you couldn't bet. Central Florida didn't have. Fresno State had them. They pulled it out late. VCU would have been a good bet also. Temple, Winthrop, Memphis. So what you start to see over here, here's what's interesting. So if we catch a win in the game, then there's a number here. If we catch a loss, you're looking at, oh no, that means they don't have a line. Sorry. This is what they paid, and this is a team that we had. Sorry, we had all these winners. We had all these winners. Tennessee won that game, right? What am I looking at? Tennessee won that game, right? Yeah, they crushed it. Sorry. All right. So these are all the teams we won. What about the ones we lost? Okay, this is really what I was getting at. Did we lose big percentage games? Lipscomb was a big percentage game. Auburn, by the way, I took Ole Miss in this Auburn game. Let me show you why. Ole Miss I have highlighted. Sure I do. Where are you at, Ole Miss? Up top. Oh, they're under Mississippi, I think. Oh, can't find Mississippi. Auburn, then? Let's find Auburn. There's so many ways to do this. Auburn against Mississippi. See, I have Mississippi highlighted. Here's why I have Mississippi highlighted. See that plus 350? They were a huge dog because they're on the road, and Auburn is a better team. However, Mississippi's over 60%. If you're a team that's ranked over and has a power percentage over 60%, you're a pretty good team. And you can see I only had it down by 4 points. You could take Ole Miss plus 8. I did. They won the game. So here's an interesting situation where you know to avoid a higher percentage. It looks different than the NC State game. Slightly. And also the line on the NC State game is much better. That's why you take NC State over this. They're only up by 7 percentage points. Here you're up by 8 percentage points. But North Carolina State is at home. That helps. Mississippi being on the road hurts them. Actually, Auburn was home too. As you can see, I guess you can kind of look at it other ways. 2 points. Why not take Syracuse? Here's why. It's really because of the line. 350 to 135 is why you go with Ole Miss here, and that's why that's a winner. So there's really a lot of ways to look into these files. Did it know not to take Arizona State against Colorado State? I didn't. Georgetown's what I had with the points. That stunk. They fell apart. Duquesne lost by a point. That was sad. Anything else big in here? Not really. It's good to stay away from bad teams and bad teams playing bad teams. So the point of this is you're really learning a lot, and you can come up with, let's move the school over here and show you what it looks like in front of the win-loss to show you what I'm talking about. Like, how are we going to go about picking our games today for the subscribers? And the answer is this, is when we look at our comparisons and we see, you can actually open that up, that's fine. So what we're looking at now is team by expanded entire field. There we go. So, and you can do fun conditional formatting stuff here and say like, oh my goodness, I would love it if the text contains win, make it green, right? And we'll make the losses red. So now how did we do percentage-wise, right? Because we're sorting this by descending by power. And you couldn't bet some of these games because you didn't have a line. And the answer is Lipscomb lost, but we didn't have them. Auburn lost because I told you about Ole Miss and why they were a better pick at plus 350. Or at least you stay away from Auburn at that line because they're not strong enough. Texas Tech was a winner. I mean, could you have conceivably picked off 8 games? That's what you're trying to do, because the casinos will allow you to make a bet that's 8 picks, and you can do an 8-team parlay or round robin, and for very little money, you can risk and potentially have thousands and thousands of dollars in payouts if you can hit 8. So how could we have hit 8 here? I don't know why we didn't take Lipscomb, but we didn't. Tech was a possibility, but wouldn't have paid anything, so probably stay away from them anyway. Texas Tech, yes, we had it and was a winner. We'll forget about Ole Miss. Just straight up winners, could we have had it? Villanova, yes, that was obvious based on the comparison. If you look here, you see that Villanova is a 71 to a 53 at home. They're going to win this game, so that's a yes, right? So 1, 2, Florida State, Utah State, North Carolina State's a 3 there because I had that one. Fresno State's 4. So could you have picked off Central Florida? You can't even bet these 2 games. And then VCU, you could have picked off VCU but didn't pay anything. Abilene Christian. I think I had Abilene Christian highlighted, but they weren't available. Where are they? There they are. I did have them highlighted against Nicholls State because this disparity was so great of 64 to 37. It's almost a 30-point disparity, 27-point disparity. I have them huge winning and projected score, and they win by huge. So you take them at negative 260. So that was possible, right? VCU is possible, as I was saying. Now you get into trouble. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You would have had to take. You've got 6 about in yesterday's pick. Memphis was a good one too, actually. You have to go through the list and really do some serious handicapping, which is what I'm going to do right now because we're already 10 minutes into this video. So I hope that's helpful to those that are interested in subscribing and understanding what we're doing here. And we got March Madness actually coming up, so this is going to roll its way into that file and be predictive. So we got a lot of fun stuff coming. Anyway, so may everyone's picks, as always, just win, 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 double, double, W, win, win, win. And we're out.